This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "My husband's new female friend sent a text that gave me the ick, and I'm questioning her intentions. Am I being silly?" So, I'll start by saying I'm generally quite a secure person and have never felt like I had any issues around this until I read a message sent to my husband yesterday, and I'm kind of spiraling. Sorry, this may be long. For some backstory, my husband does downhill biking, has done since he was very young, knows his stuff. He's out there every day, generally rides with the same group of guys, but they mostly stick to weekends. My husband goes out every day of the week, luckily, because his job allows him to. If he's out on his own, generally weekdays, and the dogs are free, he'll take the dogs. They love it. So, around 6 months ago, he was out in the morning with the dogs and ended up coming home earlier than usual. While he was out, he found this girl who fell off and had badly injured her arm and wrist. As you can imagine, he's done the same numerous times and knows exactly what to do and where to go to get seen quicker. He got her to the car park, packed the dogs and bikes up, and took her to the GP, who referred her to the hospital. And he came home, all good. Around a week after, one of the guys he rides with sent him a screenshot of a post in a Facebook group that was made for people specifically who build and maintain the bike trails. It went something like, "I'm looking for someone called, insert husband's name here, who helped me last week when I fell and got me to the hospital. He drove a truck and had 3 dogs." Then listed our dogs' names. She had posted in a few groups before being linked to the group for the trail builders, who my husband goes out there with. My husband isn't on social media, so he said he could send her his number. She texted him to double-check she had the right person. He said it was, and that he was glad she was feeling better, and he was happy to help. She offered him money or to take him for lunch, which he declined and just said again that he was happy to help. They text back and forth every now and then, her initiating, and it's mostly, "Hey, how are you? Hope you're well," etc., until she starts getting better and can ride again. It turns to, "Hey, we should hit the trail sometime." Now, without tooting his horn for him, he's very good. He used to ride competitively when he was younger, same with much of the guys he rides with. Most people at the park know who they are, and generally, if they hear them coming, we just get to the side and watch them pass. He tries to decline her offer in a way not to offend her, but there's no way she can keep up with them. There's a section that's just big jumps to practice on. He says maybe next time he's on those, he'll give her a shout and they can meet up there. If eventually that happens, and he gives her a few tips, which then turns into her texting him more often about biking, asking for him to tutor her, and just general stuff. This goes on for the next couple months, and there seems to be a friendship starting. I've never once had any concerns about this and was quite happy for him to continue, and they do so. Yesterday, Monday, he went out with the dogs and bumped into her. Said they spoke for a while and went a cycle with the dogs to wind down before he came home. She started texting him when he got home, and I can see these messages coming through the iPad as I was using it. To be clear, he's not hiding the texts. He openly leaves his phone lying around. No passcode, lets our daughter play on it. Happy for me to use it, doesn't get weird or secretive about it in the slightest. He knows the iPad and laptop are linked to his phone, and it can all be seen by anyone using them. He has never given me cause for concern. It's her intentions I'm not too sure on at this point. So, anyway, the dogs, we have 3 working gun dogs used in the fields regularly, and while they can't look like they're running right down these trails, they're extremely well trained and tuned into whatever my husband is doing, which becomes more apparent when he's not on the trails and they're following, watching his every move. These texts started on about the dogs for a bit, which she then sent a text which ended in the following quote, "Like a slave looking to please their master, smirk face emoji." Admittedly, I don't care for emojis in the texting gar people use nowadays. I don't even know what the face means, frankly, but something about this made me feel icky, and I feel like there's an undertone going on here. He replied but seemed to ignore the last comment. However, this caused me to think and look back on her communication, and I feel like I've noticed a few red flags. 1. She always initiates. 2. If she doesn't get a reply, she seems to keep sending messages until he replies. 3. Not once has she ever referenced or acknowledged the fact that he's married, has a family, even when he mentioned that he's been away from my birthday or that he's going to our daughter's dancing show. She'll change the subject as if she's pretending we don't exist or to close down any mention of us. 4. She often makes excuses for them to meet up one-on-one. I'm sure there's more, but I don't want to scroll through every message and feed into this more than I already have in case it's nothing. But am I crazy for thinking there may be something going on with her? I don't want to bring it up in case it's nothing, and I look like I'm being paranoid. It just isn't sitting right. I'm also pregnant, and the hormones are doing their thing. Should I say something, or leave it and monitor this more closely for a bit? Or is this the effect of a 30-something pregnant mom whose husband seems to be aging like a fine wine, and any female he meets doing what he loves being in amazing shape due to the hobby? Yeah, I mean, personally, can't be a coincidence, right? Like, she's clearly into him, but the husband seems to be doing all the right things. Let's go to some comments. I'm kind of like your husband. I do a lot of helping people in a different vein, though, and there are a lot of rather lonely and awkward people out there who just keep messaging once they have my contact info, men and women. I think you've handled this with grace, but I think it's totally reasonable for you to have a convo with the hubby and just say, dude, she's pretty pushy, and you're not doing anything wrong, but I'd appreciate it if he'd shut her down and just tell her that you're not in a position to be a CO and your ride time is focused, so you can't help her. She seems a little starstruck and needy, but he's not doing anything wrong here, so I wouldn't make it a big hairy deal. Opie replies, thank you. I just don't want to be the Prager's wife who's demanding he blocks women because I'm making things up in my head. He ran into her while he was out walking his dogs. Was that a planned meeting? Does she live nearby? Oh, hell no, that's stalker behavior. He needs to cut her off now. Opie replies, no, the bike park. He was up with the dogs when she spotted them and called one over. Honestly, I have no idea where she lives. I know very little about her other than she's much younger than me. Totally not on topic, but what a gun dog sounds like your husband is just being nice. But that chick is being scandalous. Sometimes men don't pick up on this stuff. So I'd bring it to his attention and talk about how you both should handle this psycho, disrespectful woman.
Op replies, hunting dogs.
Our hours are used weekly for flushing and retrieving. Thank you. I've had enough comments to make me feel confident enough that I'm not being dramatic. We'll be talking to him about it once our daughters are in bed tonight and go from there. It sounds like your husband is uninterested in her, and she is pushing boundaries. Tell your husband you feel uncomfortable. He may welcome a chance to strategize how to push her away more clearly. It would probably help if he told her he was busy with his wife and children and not interested in connecting. Although he's sure she'll find a group to bike with. He could block her if he feels he needs to. He sounds like a great guy. Congrats on the coming baby. Yeah, some sand advice, okay. On to an update. It escalated quickly. So, my last post got a lot more responses than I thought it would get. I wasn't going to post an update, but feel like I owe it to all the people telling me to trust my gut. For those asking why my husband hadn't been more abrupt with her, in a nutshell, he always tries to keep the peace. I downplayed how well known he is in our town. He comes from a well-known family in our area and was a downhill rider in the UCI and features in various YouTube channels. People come here specifically for the bike trails, and typically, wherever he goes, there's usually a handful of people who recognize him and want to say hello. It's not a huge town. Everyone knows everyone kind of place, and like anyone, he would never want people to come away from an interaction with him with a sour taste in their mouth. After our daughter was in bed, I spoke with my husband, told him my thoughts, and he agreed she was being inappropriate and that he, in no way, did or said anything that would indicate he was all right with it. He hoped by ignoring it, she would get the hint and leave him be. He didn't want to make things awkward or embarrass anyone and admitted he probably should have said something. So, after reading everyone's comments, there were loads of amazing ways people suggested shutting her down, which in hindsight would have been an amazing way to stop her in her tracks. However, he didn't want to ruffle feathers, so we went with the, we're starting to get ready for the baby and have lots to do. So prepare and simply don't have time or energy to be spent on the bikes or meetups, and he'll be unavailable to her for the foreseeable suggestions. He typed it up, handed it to me for my approval, and I hit send. Minutes later, his phone pings. I'm in the kitchen. He's in the living room, and I see his eyebrows raise, and he just looks at me. I go over, and he just hands me the phone. The freaking neck on this girl, stands me. She replied, okay, do you think we could meet up quickly tomorrow? My heart sank, and I knew exactly what that meant. I burst into tears in my head. This was the start of my world crumbling. My husband tried calming me down and asked me what I'd like him to do. Block her there, and then or ask what she wants to see him for. I wish I just told him to block her, but for some reason, I wanted to know more. He replied, asking what meeting up would achieve. She just said there's some stuff she would like to talk to him about face to face. I felt like I was literally being punched in the chest and being winded. At this point, he eventually gets the point across that he is not going to meet with her and drags it out of her. She tells him that at some point, feelings started and that turned into fantasies. And that, basically, he could do whatever he wanted to her. That I didn't need to know about it, and she would be happy to keep it that way. As she put it, our thing. It was more graphic than I'm willing to type. I felt like I was still keeping a level head on until this point. I flashed out and got very, very angry. I started crying uncontrollably. My body was vibrating with anger. I barely slept, woke up crying, and felt like absolute crap all day. Today, I've already got in touch with their friends who run these Facebook groups she joined and asked them to remove her and make sure she doesn't join again. My husband replied last night and told me it's sorted and I don't have to worry about her. I didn't see the text he sent, but it's there on the iPad. But I can't bring myself to even open the iMessage. After seeing what I saw, it's not fair that someone thinks they can just do something like that, regardless of how it's going to impact an entire family. Currently, I don't want him leaving the house. I don't want him to ever go back to the trails. I don't want the dogs even going up there. The fact she's even touched my dogs makes me sick. So there we are. I still feel like my life's slipping away from me, like someone's trying to steal it. My confidence is shattered. My eyes sting. My head hurts from crying. I don't feel like eating. Don't think I've ever felt as low as I do right now. My husband's trying his best to comfort me, but it will take a while. I guess he feels very guilty, despite me telling him he's done nothing wrong. I can't believe how quickly my life just changed with a stupid text. So, thank you to everyone telling me to believe my gut and everyone else who took the time to comment and edit. I just want to add, I'm not controlling my husband. I'm not holding him hostage. He had to take them out today. The bike parker is almost in our back garden. I'm describing how I feel just now, like it's a personal attack on me and my family. And I know this happens all over the world. My eyes will never open to it. This man's baby is about to burst out of my body. I don't feel attractive in any sense of the word right now. I feel I'm well within my rights to be a little distraught after seeing a text from a much younger, much fitter girl describing in graphic detail the things she wants my husband to do to her. Yeah, 100%. And fair enough on Opie for feeling attacked because that's exactly what it is. It's more or less a straight-up attempt to destroy a family, whether that's what she wanted or not. But I can't help but feel like her hormones probably are getting to her a bit at this point. Like she mentions that her world has changed and flipped upside down, but I don't think it has at all. If anything, I would be feeling more secure in my marriage, in the honesty with the husband. I mean, life's too short to be letting people like this woman keep you up at night. She's a bad person. She's out of your life, and she doesn't deserve the tears. Let's go to some more comments. You'll be all right, and honestly, take comfort that this is probably a lot of pregnancy hormones, and your husband loves the absolute soul out of you. He handled it well, so well, public figure or not, and he's by your side. He's been transparent and upfront and kind. She tried to crash the party and failed miserably. He's all yours, and he wants it to stay that way. I hope you feel better and can do some rationalizing in the meantime. Your life didn't change, you're fine. If nothing else, life got better because you now know that your husband would rather be loyal to you than carry on a secret affair with some hornball side piece. Women pursue married men. Men pursue married women. It happens, but your spouse is rock solid. So make sure your actions match your words pertaining to how he did nothing wrong. Good luck with the baby. Did your life really change because you found out someone wanted to sleep with your husband and would do so despite the fact that he's married and has a family? Do you think she's the only one who would be willing to do that? Do you think there are no men out there who would be willing to sleep with you? Your marriage works because you and your husband made a commitment to one another. That commitment is what your lives together are built upon. It's a promise, really, that you made to each other, and it looks like both you and your husband are committed to keeping that promise. It's only natural that other people will find our partners attractive, They see in our partners the same things we see in our partners. Some of those people will have no qualms about destroying a marriage or a family if it means they get to satisfy their desires. The only thing that stands in their way is the promise you and your husband made to each other. The only thing that's different now is that you know the name of one of the people willing to destroy your family for her desires. Your husband seems intent on keeping his promise to you. I really don't think you have anything to worry about. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. On to a new update. Hey, everyone. My last 2 posts got so much attention, and I'm still receiving lots of messages asking what's happened since and if I know what my husband has been told her. I'm also getting a few messages saying my previous posts are now deleted and can't be seen, but they're still there when I check. Not sure what's going on there. Anyway, an update before I log out of this account. So, I had many people telling me I'm crazy, overreacting, need therapy, etc. I get it. I probably was overreacting, but also feel like some people just don't understand the places your head can go when you're heavily pregnant. I know what this girl looks like, and alongside my current self, had no idea why my husband would not take her up on her offer. I've done nothing but compare myself to her and couldn't understand why he would stay with me if he was getting offers like that, even despite my husband making me feel very loved and attractive every day. I convinced myself he found me repulsive and that he would leave me. Madness, I know, but I also had moments of clarity. It's been an emotional few weeks as it is. Did you read the text your husband sent to her? No, I haven't. I ended up deleting the chat from the iPad because I didn't want to see her messages. He told me something along the lines of, I have no idea how or if I gave you the signal that I was looking for something like that, but I can assure you I'm not, and I don't appreciate the attempt to pull my family apart. Delete my number, don't try to contact me, do not try and talk to me if you see me out and about. You've caused a great amount of stress to my family, and especially my wife, who is expecting very soon and has access to every message you've sent to me. Leave me alone. Lots of people also commented that I've handled this way better than they would have. Truth be told, I'm constantly seeing between trying to forget this even happened and texting or calling her myself, but I realize the longer I leave it to do this, the more pathetic I look. Trying to take the high road, but I'm not going to lie. This has been extremely hard. I also want to focus on the baby and not this right now. All in all, though, I feel much better than I did a few days ago. One thing I've taken from this, and far too many people reached out to me to say the same, is how amazing my husband really is. I feel like I've taken him for granted after reading some stories people have shared privately, and I'm so lucky to share my life with him. So that's it. I didn't plan on making an update again, but I've still been getting so many messages asking the same things. But this will be the last. Thanks for all the responses and the few crazies also sending me horrible messages. I know you're reading this. Take care. And one final comment from Opie on if her husband is well known in the biking community in their area, and if he has a social media profile and should set up boundaries for personal reasons. So this is something we've actually joked about. He's not a celebrity by any means, but just the area wherein people come here specifically for biking, and he gets recognized a lot. And 99% of the time, it's people from out of town who want to stop and say hi, etc. So there's never really been the worry of any nutters stalking him, and the biking people as a whole seem to be very down-to-earth people who just like being outside. It's never brought up any worries until now, but thank you. We will look into something like this. Okie dokie, folks, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, great ending, and I knew OP would, eventually come to her senses a bit more. She has a great husband, and I'm sure she knew the whole time deep down that she had complete faith in him and that everything would work out okay. But yeah, I honestly can't imagine what her brain would be going through with all the hormones and, whatever involves being pregnant like that. Maybe someone in the comments can give me an insight. Let's go to some final comments. My husband is by no means an athlete or celebrity, but he works in it and helps people who are stressed and having a bad day. And for the women who come to him to fix their computers, they develop a fleeting bit of infatuation for the big, strong man who's there to protect them and solve their problems. A sort of reverse Florence Nightingale situation. He doesn't seem to see the flirtation that's going on, but I sure do. He's already attractive and has a neat accent, but he's elevated to Adonis when he's the one who saves her data or helps her make her deadline, or keeps her boss from getting mad at her. I'm not surprised this biking lady fixated on him after he saved her from her injury. This guy sounds like a solid dude, and the OP is lucky to have him. I've been through those pregnancy hormones, and they're no joke. God, I hope OP goes to talk this over with her OBGYN to ask about postpartum depression and anxiety. I ain't been pregnant, and I ain't ever want to be such, but I know an anxiety spiral into self-loathing when I see one. Yeah, interesting point. What are your thoughts about that one? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.